Hello people, I discovered that there's a nice mod about Spa Francorchamps of the old age. So I went to Spa Francorchamps modern circuit and borrowed a proper car to explore the old Spa Francorchamps. They told me that with just some plutonium and setting the right date upon reaching 88 miles per hour something magic happens and we are in old Spa Francorchamps. What's going on here? There's something blocking the radio turn. Yes, that's because while we see this ridiculous animation I added to the video. This mod about Spa Francorchamps is showing multiple tracks. In fact, if we turn left, we are going to run through the old, it's called the l'Ancienne Douane, that was the early, one of the earliest variations in this track. Later they preferred to run as fast as possible, so they preferred to stick to the radio turn. And then after a long series of straights, here we are at Le Combe, which is the first very tricky turn because it's a turn on the left with multiple radius and some bumps right in the middle. We have another left-hander and the first very long right-hander. It's very long and very wide. It's Bournonville, and it's the first, maybe the second, really dangerous place because all the cars with really poor tires. You must imagine that the grip is more or less like wooden wheels, ending up or better or worse, ending out of the road meant to fly over this little hill on the left or drop inside a field with cows or whatever. While we were cutting through a chicane in Malmedy, we can see that with this trick we can jump the chicane and run through the turn that was preferred in the 60s, if I remember well, again to keep speeds as high and crazy as possible. After another straight here, the Master Straight, we are heading to another really dangerous passage, the Master Kink, a left-hander right on a crest followed by a right-hander, so it's an S. And on the exit you got right houses. There's a replay on board here, so you can see how terribly dangerous it was. I think that the right feeling is thinking about being on a fighter plane, proper fighter plane, buzzing through a canyon. So more or less same feeling, very scary, very terrific feeling, and the same danger, unfortunately. But now we are in a simulator, so we can feel the thrill and have fun with the really difficult passage indeed. Another almost locked wide and very fast turn here at Stavelot. It's a double turn which changes pendants from diving to climbing, and here there is another variation as well. In some years they prefer to turn left and face this very tight hairpin again in order to slow down cars, but I don't think it made a really a big difference on the overall danger of this track that I call with thinking about the Russian roulette. This is the Belgian roulette, no, since we are in Belgium. Okay, heading down, or better, heading up to the La Carrière double right-hander. The second one, this one is quite tricky again because there is a very slight crest, but you know, if you face it at 250, 200, even 200 kilometers per hour on those poor tires, just one little mistake and you become a stamp against some obstacle. So heading for the last turns, we faced the Blanchimont S's, and now we're heading for the last left-hander, the clubhouse turn. No, after this one, yes, sorry. And finally back to something we know very well, which is La Source, the last very tight hairpin in a descent that in 2 days track has become the first turn, because the arrival, the finish line has been moved on the flat straight. Here I make you notice the solid wall on the left, the solid concrete poles on the left, but actually it was the only turn with an escape way. The track is over, what to say, we got to get back, but we don't have a plutonium, but luckily lightning is powering up our time machine and we're back to modern Spa Francorchamps. Well, we paid for getting in the track, so why not making a full lap of the 2 days track of Spa Francorchamps. Okay, after the ready on turn that is already different from the old one, here we are at the first series of tight corners, chicanes, which make the track very different from the old one. Very different, but you know, since this is not just simulation, but there is a real track where people risk their lives racing, well, just check the escape ways and the lack of crests right in the middle of corners, so that surely make a big difference, no matter if you have downforce or slick super grippy tires. This is a matter of tracks and even of cars, because cars of the 50s, the 60s, not to mention the ones before, had no seat belts. You were surrounded by fuel and metal parts that could catch fire. Okay, the fuel could catch fire very easily. Some pilots wrote down that they preferred not to have seatbelts so they could fly off the car in case of crash without getting burned, ending up in a fireball. So if this is the criteria, well, I think that it says it all. Okay, down to the last chicane, which is not the last for me, because in this case I'm gonna consider the old straight as the finish line. So again, doing the La Source tight hairpin and down again towards the Radion. So thanks to the man who made the mod of the track, thanks to the man who made the mod of the car, which is really beautiful, with reference to the Back to the Future movie, and goodbye.